police from in the morning.
Hello, children. Welcome to another edition of Breaking Badger News. I'm your host, as always, the John Diskin Simpsons Kin, the sexiest Simpsons Kin alive. Mostly because I'm the only one, Max Darrett. And joining me for this particular episode is she who must be obeyed, Karen Strawn. Karen, how are you today?
I never get tired of being described that way.
I know.
I never get tired of it. She who...
And we mostly say it because every single time you come into the room, if we don't say it, you smack us over the back of the head.
That's right. I'm one of those violent MRA types. And definitely I have an issue with violence and anger and bitterness and abuse and domineering behavior and all of that. So
she hates me because I'm yellow. Anyways, on to the main story. I brought Karen on here for this particular show because I figured she probably would have the most to say about this particular issue. So, Patrick Brown is re-entering the Ontario Progressive Conservative leadership race. Patrick Brown was forced out of the Ontario Progressive Conservative Party last January after two women made sexual misconduct allegations against him. However, recently, one of the key accusations was proven as false. But before we get into what particular thing was proven as false, let's just detail what the allegations were beforehand. One woman, a former staffer for the Ontario PCs, said Brown tried to kiss her and climbed on top of her when the two were in his bedroom. Another woman said that when she was underage, Brown took her home from a bar, gave her booze, took her to his room, and asked for oral sex. In response, Brown said that the former staffer kissed him and not the other way around, and the incident with the underage girl never happened. The CTV News online article that originally published these accusations has been edited to say that the supposedly underage woman was of legal drinking age and out of high school. The same unnamed accuser said to CTV the following: "The comments made about me on social media were demeaning, victim-blaming, and misogynistic. My privacy was invaded, my character was assassinated, and I was subjected to gratuitous slurs about my private life and relationships." Her lawyer said the following as well. Quote, "Just the backlash, the misogyny, the hatred, the online trolling of false, demeaning, and very hurtful things has really taken a toll." I wonder if he's talking about his client or about Patrick. I guess it works either way.
Oh my God. Really, we're at this point now where she can hold herself up as being victimized by having her character assassinated in the media and in online media.
Boo frickety hoo. I guess you probably should have been more concerned about getting the core story right the first time instead of... Yeah, anyways, we'll get to that in a second. One element of the false underage story stated that Brown offered her a tour that ended in his upstairs bedroom. That was apparently factually impossible because at the time he was living in a one-floor apartment. And in respect to that, Brown has also taken 2 lie detectors this week that indicate he is telling the truth. However, the accusers stand by their allegations. The woman who lied about the key piece of information said the following. Quote, "I stand absolutely by the truth of what I said to CTV. There is nothing in what Patrick Brown alleges that undermines the core truth of what I've experienced with him." Karen, just go. I know you want to say something.
Oh my fucking God. Like, okay, first thing, I don't even know how this particular allegation even became a thing. That I don't understand how anybody gave it any kind of credence in terms of its validity as an accusation of sexual misconduct. Because, okay, and here's the thing, people, the whole point, the whole thing, the whole big, horrible thing that he did was sexually proposition an underage, and allegedly sexually proposition an underage girl. There's no mens rea here, right? She was in a fucking bar, people! You have to be 18 to be in a bar, maybe 19 in Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she wasn't like, you can remove the men's, like, this is not a pedophiles do not go looking for victims in places where only people over the age of 18 are allowed to be. Or 19. Right? They don't. Okay, so even if he did proposition her, so the fuck what? She's the one who was in the wrong. If she was indeed underage. Like, what? Like, when young women, 15, 16, 17 years old, go to bars and pick up older men, it's incumbent on the older men to, like, scrutinize their ID harder than the doorman and the bartender?
Yeah.
Like, really? Really? Like, that whole thing, there's no intent there. There's no intent to get laid by underage girls there. You know, and I can tell you, as somebody who has gotten into bars when underage, when you want to do that, you do everything in your power to look like you are of age. So, like, I just, that whole fucking thing, we can just, like, get rid of that right off the bat, even if we were to consider it at face value and believe this, quote, victim, end quote. We can essentially say he did nothing wrong there. Nothing. Yeah. But then this whole woe is me, I lied about a public figure, right? Almost ruined his career, stalled it for, months, over, by making an anonymous allegation in national media about something that he allegedly did, in which I stated falsehoods that could be detected. If he lived in a 1-floor apartment, his upstairs bedroom. That's not his bedroom upstairs in his apartment building. That's his upstairs bedroom. The bedroom that isn't on the ground floor.
The non-existent. What, did you just go through the roof? Does he sleep on the roof?
Like,
was he that impoverished at the time?
I'm just blown away by this. And it's like, and she's acting like, oh, and people are saying mean things about me. Well, what have they been saying about Patrick Brown all this time? Right? And, this is very, 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 very convenient for Kathleen Wynne, isn't it?
Yeah.
If this guy has to step down from the leadership of the Conservative Party, in the run-up to an election where he actually would possibly be able to oust her. I mean, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, it's not like she has a 19% approval rating and she needs all the help she can get.
I'm not even saying that she had anything to do with this.
No, I know.
Who the fuck knows, right? Mm-hmm. But, there are always plenty of willing volunteers who are ready to jump in and say, I'm gonna, just out of the goodness of my heart and without your authorization, I'm gonna do something that's gonna help you out, Kathleen, right? Of course there are. That's just how the world works, right? And so, like, this allegation can be completely written off. Now, as for the first allegation that you mentioned, mm-hmm. a former staffer for the Ontario PCs said Brown tried to kiss her and climbed on top of her when the two were in his bedroom. What the fuck is she doing in his bedroom?
Oh, and get this. Apparently his partner at the time was just in the other room. Like,
I just, like, what the fuck is she doing? I mean, and I'm saying this as somebody who has invited strange men into my hotel room, right? Like, I'm at a convention, we're talking, I'm like, I need to get out of these actual presentable clothes that I had to wear at the podium, and put on, like, my normal freaking scuzzy street person clothes. So let's walk and talk. And we get to my hotel room door, and they act like they're going to stand out there outside my hotel room door and wait. And I'm just like, no, come on in. And then I go and I grab my clothes and I go into the bathroom, and we're talking through the bathroom door while I'm changing my clothes. And then I come out and we sit down on the sofa, or I sit on the edge of the bed and he sits on the sofa. We continue the discussion. Like, so I'm speaking as somebody who has been in a position where I've had strange men that I've only just met, in my hotel room, because I didn't want to break the conversation. I didn't want to stall the conversation. I wanted to just keep going. But I would never be like, if I was in my home, I would never be like, yeah, no, I have to change my clothes or something or whatever, come into my bedroom with me. So what's she doing in his bedroom? Like, I can't imagine, particularly if his partner was home at the time, what the hell is she doing in his bedroom? Did he go in there and she followed him in?
I honestly don't. I just remember reading the original story, and it said something about his partner at the time being in the other room, and that she was heavily intoxicated. Not his partner, but the woman that is accusing him.
Oh, so maybe she was so drunk she thought that she could get a piece of, get some dick while his partner's in the next room. Like maybe she was that drunk. I'm sorry, but this is just like, it's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why would you, if you were in somebody's home, right, why would you, if you didn't want to have sex with them, follow them into their bedroom?
Yeah, I don't know. This it's just such an unnecessary state of affairs, and it especially pisses me off.
It would be like if when I invited those guys into my hotel room, I left the bathroom door open and invited them in while I was changing, right? Like that's inappropriate. Like this, I am absolutely fucking blown away by the ridiculousness of all of this. In particular, the underage woman at the bar story, because the whole salacious part of that was that she was underage. Well, of course, he didn't realize that because she was in a fucking bar.
Yeah. And not only is she accusing him of being a rapist, he's actually accusing him of being a pedophile. And then it comes out later that, oh, yeah, well, no, I was above the legal drinking age. So, no, he's not a pedophile. Sorry, but no, the rest of the story is true. Like, he's not a pedophile, but he is a rapist. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your credibility is completely gone out the fucking window. And you know what pisses me off? Okay, the whole Me Too thing, I like to believe that it's good because you get a whole bunch of women that are trying to organize to try and put true assholes behind bars, i.e. Harvey Weinstein, i.e. What's his name? Larry Nassar, the gymnastics guy. Perfect examples. What this does is it just gives credence to the fact that there are going to be a lot of people taking advantage of this as a way to get revenge for political reasons, for really dumb, petty relationship reasons like we got here. And the fact that what did we have? We had a guy that was leading the PC party, a party that has a lot more likelihood now to take down the liberals in the upcoming election. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there was a definite likelihood. And then this comes along and puts a definite wrench in the gears. And he didn't deserve it. And unfortunately, the worst part about this is, even though he's trying to re-enter the race right now, it's not going to help anything. It's just going to further divide the vote. People are still going to believe that he did it. He needs to spend the rest of his time clearing his name, which is really unfortunate.
Well, what drives me crazy too about this whole thing is, like, you can't tell me that the prevalence of false allegations of witchcraft in 1691 in Salem, Massachusetts was exactly the same as it was in 1692. Okay? You get a hysteria. And when you look at all of the reasons, right, and there are a variety of reasons that women would make false allegations, when they actually do studies on proven false allegations and go into the accuser's motivations, what made them do it. There are, like, to solve a problem, right? To provide an alibi, to explain why I was home late, or why I missed work, or why I have an STD, why I'm pregnant, right? Things like that. To divert attention away from some kind of failing, like, oh, I'm failing in university, I'll tell my parents that I was raped, and that's my get out of flunking out of university free card, right? Okay. And these are all documented, right? And then there is revenge, or to serve, to serve the kind of purpose of destroying a man's character, right? A woman has a target, a man whose character, public persona that she wants to destroy, his public reputation. She can use that. And then also attention. Now, those last two, right, when you cultivate an environment where women must always be believed, where we're actually questioning a woman, or if you detect an allegation that is almost certainly false, and was, if not false, deliberately embellished. Okay? Which this second, the supposedly underage girl, her accusation was falsified and deliberately embellished in order to maximize the damaging impact on this man, right? Mm-hmm. When you detect that and you draw attention to it, then what you have is the backlash, the misogyny, the hatred, the online trolling of false, demeaning, and very hurtful things.
Boo, frickety who.
Really taken a toll on my poor client, right? That's what you get, right? You are now a misogynist if you actually detect a false allegation and say this allegation is false, right? So, this is the environment. This is the fucking place we're in now. This is the room we're in now, right? Where we must believe all women, take their word as gospel, and that even if they are demonstrably lying, we're not allowed to call them on it because that is misogynistic abuse. Yep. And do you really think that women who fall into those two latter categories, doing it for attention or doing it to destroy a particular man that they don't like, or that, you know, like to serve a purpose, right? To essentially reputational destruction, right? Do you really think that in this climate, there aren't going to be more of those accusations than would normally occur?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate side effect of this.
It is. And you know, this is really why this whole pillorying in public, right, based on the pointed finger of a woman, right? This cannot and can never be justice. Marie Henin said it best, right? I believe survivors can never be a legal principle, right? But as far as I'm concerned, it can never be a moral principle. It cannot be a principle even in the court of public opinion, right? Because the moment that you allow that to happen, what you're doing is you're opening the door to predatory false accusers. And they exist. They happen. And it's exactly the way it is with rapists, right? Rapists most of the rapes are committed by recidivists who are responsible for, you know, like, they're a tiny percentage of men who pathologically offend over and over and over and over and over again. And you can say David Lissack falsified his research. Yeah, he embellished his research, but his research dovetails with all the other research on this. So essentially, including the admissions, the confessions of convicted rapists who are convicted of one rape, who when given a guarantee of confidentiality and immunity, admitted to researchers that they had actually committed between 8 and 11 rapes that had not gone detected before they were convicted of the one that they were convicted of. Okay, so, I mean, this is across the board. All the trends show that the majority of the rapes are committed by a very small percentage of people, right? Yep. And we allow this narrative out there, don't be that guy narrative, that sort of implicates all men and tells all men that they need to change their behavior because women are getting raped. And no, right? Because it's a tiny proportion of men. And when we demonstrated it at Men's Rights Edmonton, when we made our own posters, don't be that girl, you know, false accusations happen just because it was, just because you regret it doesn't mean it wasn't consensual. Things like that. Don't be that girl. We were accused of targeting all women and claiming that all women lie about rape. No, not all women lie about rape. There is a tiny percentage of pathologically driven individuals who are responsible for the vast majority of false rape accusations out there, and false domestic violence accusations, and false allegations of any type, right? And so what you are looking at is, we're looking at this bizarre freaking world where we're like ready to believe that all men are capable of pathological behavior, right? But women are completely, I guess, just inherently incapable of pathological behavior. And don't even get me started on female on male rape, because fuck, we don't have all night.
Yeah, we've got a little bit of overtime, and there's so much to dive into here. I'll just say this for myself, but before we finish, I live in the same province as Patrick Brown, Ontario, and given the fact that, I think we both live in the city of Toronto, and Toronto is sort of known as the San Francisco of the North, what with our overly progressive politics, the idea...
It's awful. I'm gonna be there in 2 weeks, and I'm really not gonna... I'm gonna love every minute of it. I promise.
I think we're actually supposed to hang out one day. I think... I completely forgot about that. But yeah, I was just gonna say, as a newly single gentleman, the idea of engaging sexually with any woman in this city or even in this province is absolutely terrifying, and this is the perfect example why. Anyways, that'll do it for this edition of Breaking Badger News. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. It just tells it that our content is worth watching, and it spreads our video into the recommended feeds of people everywhere. So please hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. HoneyBadgerRadio does tons of videos every single week. Videos like this one, we have the live shows. And if you want to leave your thoughts on this video, whether you agree or disagree with any of the points that Karen and I have made, make sure to put your comment in the comment section below. And speaking of Karen, I want to thank She Who Must Be Obeyed, Karen Strawn, for coming in on such short notice and doing such a kick-ass job analyzing this entire situation. And until next time, stay yellow.